I call this meeting to order at 6:01. Now starting with roll call, we start over here with our student representative.
Arden Russell, sophomore student representative.
And Craig Sherlock, District Director, District 2.
Mitch Forehand, District Director of District 1.
Aiden Halleck, senior student representative
Sure.
and acting chair for this meeting.
Dr. Constantine, superintendent.
Terrence Proctor, Director, District 4.
Dave Larson, Director, District 5.
Okay, welcome everyone. And now we will like to move into our land and labor acknowledgement.
Director Papillon had that, so I will pick that up. For our land acknowledgement, we in the Tukwila School District acknowledge that the land where we teach, collaborate, learn, and play is the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and Muckleshoot people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish and Muckleshoot tribes. As a public school district, we have a responsibility for the stewardship of this land, and we strive to work alongside the Duwamish and Muckleshoot people who have been living and working here since time immemorial. For our labor acknowledgement, we further acknowledge that the burden of environmental exploitation and systemic injustice falls upon the labor of Black and brown bodies in the building of this country and its institutions. We remember that Black and brown people were born and died working this land against their will for generations. We also acknowledge the continued contribution of the labor of survivors over the centuries to today of all immigrant labor, including voluntary, involuntary, trafficked, forced, and undocumented peoples in the building of what we refer to as the United States. As a school district leadership, we pledge to recognize and work against systems that have historically and currently enforced and create inequities among the people we serve.
For those who would like to, we will now stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I will be reading the Tukwila School Board values and group agreements. And you, Dr. Joseph, lending me your computer. Oh, if I can see your mouse. There we go. Transparency. Be honest. Speak or communicate with your point of view and why. Explain what you're doing in understandable or more simple terms. Courage. Speak frankly about the uncomfortable things. Listen deeply. Listen to understand, not to respond. Minimize multitasking. Embrace the brainstorm. Lean into tough conversations, own mistakes, and address unintentional impact. Righteousness. Relentless pursuit for exploring the right thing to do, to be, or become. Challenge versus taking the easiest or cost-effective path. Curiosity. Ask questions for understanding. Suspend judgment. Respect. Center humanity. Find out what respect means to each other. Actively listen, seeing the whole person, recognizing what each of us might be bringing in that day, and ask what would be the impact on people. And does the chair have a motion to approve the May 26, 2026 board agenda with the following change?
With no changes.
Yeah, I'll just read it. Does the chair have a motion to approve the consent, to approve the agenda for the May 26, 2026 regular board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, the motion on the floor is the approval of the agenda for the May 26, 2026 regular board meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, the motion carries. Now time for public comment. We have 3 emails and I should read those first. Should I read these first?
Just the public comments.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anyone signed up in person? No, okay. And if anyone online would like to, please raise your hand. Seeing none online, I'll just start reading the ones in front of me with my little stack of papers. This is from Christopher, Vargas. Public comment. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. I'm a parent with a son who attends preschool at Cascade View. I simply wanted to share my experience regarding my son. At first, we felt apprehensive due to the strong bond we share with him. But Mrs. Dawn gave us the confidence that everything would be fine. Since then, my son has undergone a positive transformation academically, socially, emotionally, and in every other way. All of this is thanks to the teamwork of Mrs. Dawn, Ms. Karen, and Mrs. Amber, and the other members of staff. I cannot offer them anything but my deepest gratitude for caring about my son and supporting him in every area. I am thankful to be able to place my trust in people like them when it comes to my child. As parents, many of you will understand exactly what I mean. I can say with absolute certainty that my son is in good hands. I hope that my son, along with many other children, will continue to benefit from the support of this team of teachers and staff members. Thank you, sincerely, Christopher Brooks. Ramiro Reyes. To whom it may concern, my name is Adriana Romero Reyes, and I am one of the mothers who benefited from the Early Childhood Education and Assistance Program, ECAP. During the 2022-2023 school year at Cascade View Elementary School in Tukwila, Washington, this is an excellent program that helps many families gain access to early education for the youngest members of their household. This is highly beneficial during their formative years of schooling, as this program provides them with support and the right tools for their academic development, teaching them all the fundamentals appropriate for their age. It is also tremendous help for working families, as it gives us the opportunity to work with the peace of mind that our little ones are in good hands, learning and in a safe environment. I am deeply grateful that this program exists, and I hope that it continues to do so, as it is a great assistance not only to me, but to many families throughout the state of Washington. Thank you to the two people that have public comment, and then I'll do this for student rep report.
And there's one more student comment parent public comment that just came in
Okay.
just now. Do you want to read it?
Yeah.
I'll put this up for you. Here we go.
Okay, D is there a name?
It says ECAP board
Okay.
members. Yeah, the name's on the bottom.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear ECAP board members, I am writing to express my sincere gratitude for the Spanish-speaking support teacher program at Cascade View, and to share how meaningful and essential this program has been for our children and families. Having a Spanish-speaking support teacher provides tremendous benefits for both parents and students. For parents, it creates clear communication and helps prevent misunderstandings during important situations. It gives families confidence knowing that their language and cultures are understood, respected, and supported. For many families, especially during a child's first school experience, this support becomes an important bridge between parents and their school. In our experience, we often feel comfortable reaching out to the support teacher first because communication feels safe, welcoming, and reassuring. For students, the impact is even greater. Young children entering school for the first time often feel fear, uncertainty, and insecurity. Having someone who speaks their language gives them immediate comfort and emotional safety. It allows them to express their emotions, communicate their needs, and ask for help when they are hurt, scared, thirsty, need the restroom, or simply miss their parents. This support creates understanding, empathy, and confidence during a very important stage of the development. My daughter entered school on her first day feeling afraid and unsure. I can honestly say she quickly grew to love school because of the incredible teamwork between her teachers. Their dedication and care have been truly exceptional. My daughter learned to communicate respectfully and lovingly in 2 languages. She learned to appreciate and interact with children from different cultures and backgrounds in a positive and respectful environment. There were also moments where my daughter needed personal emotional support after a fall, an accident, or even during changes within our family. Despite having 20 children in the classroom, the teachers made her feel unique, special, safe, and loved. After speaking with other parents, I realized many families feel exactly the same way about the support their children received. With sincere gratitude, I want to thank you for providing teachers who understand the fundamental importance of language, emotional support, and cultural connection. The teamwork between lead teachers and support teachers is invaluable. Without this support system, the education experience for many children and families would be significantly more difficult and less nurturing. Thank you for your continued dedication to our children, families, and community. Sincerely, Alvarado Ramirez family. I'll give one last chance for any public comment before we move on. Anyone online? Nothing? Okay, and now we will move into our student rep report. Arvin, take us away.
Since the last meeting, a lot has happened. Choir got to see the Opera of Carmen at McCaw Hall. It was amazing. AP testing and SBA testing happened for all the sophomores a few weeks ago. I think it went well. Dr. Perdoza invited us to sing Why Do We Build the Wall in Epic 3 at a WASA event, and that was very fun. Thank you, Dr. Perdoza. The next day was prom. I went with one of my friends and the venue was beautiful and it was a really fun experience. Some of my friends also threw their own prom and we all went to a nice restaurant and hung out with a campfire. Last week, we had the cast party for 12 Angry Jurors. It was great, but also very sad because it was all of our seniors last show with us. Over the past month, I also got to see a lot of musicals. I saw Guys and Dolls at Lincoln High School, Legally Blonde at Nathan Hale High School, Wizard of Oz from the Highliners Theater Group, and Cabaret from the UW Stage Notes Theater Group. I really enjoyed all of them. Last week, I ran lights and sound for the band concert. And lastly, this Thursday, we're having our last choir concert of the year at 7, and I hope to see you there.
I'll read Rihanna's before closing with my impromptu, did not write one on the fly improv report. Since the last board meeting, I've attended the 12 Angry Jurors play at Foster and want to congratulate Aiden and Arvin as it was a great play. I've also ended my badminton season, but started to work on my college personal statements and my safety/target schools. Unfortunately, I missed the last meeting due to a personal matter because the meeting conflicted with my work schedule. As for today's meeting, I'll be flying out tonight to visit my family in Nevada, which is why I am unable to be here in person. These past few months have been the busiest so far, and I can definitely agree that junior year has been my hardest. I do hope you all have a great meeting, and I am very sorry for my absence. Thank you. I can concur, junior year sucks. And now for my last student rep report. That's crazy. I've been here for 2 years now, and it's been, man, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. This is weird, but I guess it's just the sentimentality of being a senior in high school. But it's been a long 2 years, and I'm really happy with all of it. I'm really happy to spend it with this board that lasts. I don't know why I'm crying. What? God.
That's great.
I should talk about less emotional things first. I was in 12 Angry Jurors. It was fun. We had the cast party. It was a lot of fun. Man, I'm so excited to see what drama. You guys need to go. You guys all need to go to drama club performances because they are so unbelievably good. And I'm really excited to see what Arden's going to cook up for the tech in the next one. Because I'm really, really excited. I know you don't know what show it is, and I can't say, but it's exactly what you're thinking, but not. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's weird and mysterious. I went to prom, my senior prom, and it was amazing. I'm really happy with the venue. The venue was beautiful. It's next to this big lake, out in Mount Maple Valley. I couldn't have picked a better spot if I tried. Maybe if I had infinite money, I could find a better spot. But with budgets and everything, it was the best spot I could think of. And this is my last actual academic week in high school. Next week, I hope I'm not gonna be doing anything academic. But yeah, next week on Wednesday is my last day of school, and I don't know how to feel about that. And then come to graduation, if you have a ticket, if you don't have a ticket, I don't know, find one, bum one off the high school senior.
I can get you a ticket.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
I know a gal too.
Yeah. And I'm really excited for senior awards night tomorrow. I'm really excited to see who the valedictorian is. I'm rooting for Jeremy Tran, if he doesn't win, I'm burning everything down. I don't know if win's the right word for valedictorian, but it's how I feel, because I've been rooting for him since I lost my 4.0 last year. God, dang pre-calculus. Yeah, my calculus finals this week, so wish me luck and pray for me.
Gotcha.
Thank you. And yeah, and just as a small reflection on my time on this board, I'm very happy with the advocacy that I was able to do. The relatively small amount of time that I had, 2 years really flew by. I'm very confident that Arden will do an amazing job when I'm gone. And I'm sure Arden will yell at you just as much as I did. And, you know, although it's been me fighting against the board, I love this board and I loved the previous board. And, you know, I really hope that student advocacy stays strong in this district. And I'll be sad to stop seeing Dave everywhere because you're everywhere.
Yes.
And thank you for having me and picking. I know I was the only option when I applied. So I hope you're glad with the one option that you got. But yeah, and happy graduation to all my seniors. Go class of 2026. Go Bulldogs. And I'll soon be a Husky. And that will end my final student rep report.
Thank you.
Now on the lighter note, maybe, hopefully, superintendent report.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to acknowledge, so I was gonna speak to this, but I'll do this now, it's a good transition. So, last Friday, was it last Friday or the Friday before last, I got to honor Aiden, at the WASA, which is the Washington Association for Superintendent Administrators. So, our regional, ceremony, we honor student leaders. And so it was an easy thing to honor, Aiden. For those of you who don't know, Aiden and I met, on our first year of binding conditions. He came to a session at Foster High School when we were talking about the budget. And just back then was a spitfire, talking about all the things and questions and it was actually, I received a lovely, his application was amazing because what it said was, he realized that we were easy to talk to, that was a good thing, and that he felt like he could do some good on the board. And I just want to say, more than the board, which maybe some of you don't know what Aiden has also done. Aiden has co-presented with Dave Larson at the WASDA conference, which is the Washington State Conference for school directors, and talking about district finance. So he's done that. He's also performed at the WASDA conference with his team. Since when the drama teacher was cut at Foster High School, him and his colleagues, his classmates, developed the drama club to the performances that they have now. They got creative, they got innovative. He has sat with me on the Gates Education Roundtable, where we sit with 15 districts from around the state. And we have 3 student reps, and we advocate around what does that actually mean to bridge high school graduation to post-secondary success, making sure that they actually graduate and are successful. He's been sitting at that table, learning, leaning, reflections. We've had many conversations,
Yeah.
reflections. And he's met with, our state representatives in Olympia as well to advocate as well. And that's the stuff that I know that he does. That's not even all the stuff that he does at school as well. ASB leadership, on and on and on. So it was like a super easy decision to pick Aiden to be the representative for Tukwila School District in the Student Leadership Award. So I just want to make sure that I highlight that because it's important. And then the last thing I'll share is the reason why he's sitting here is because he actually came to me and said, I want to look at the procedures for the student rep. And he helped edit those procedures. We're finalizing the procedures. And one of the things we added was that the student senior director actually gets to host and be the board director president for one time. So I just think, and not just that, but other changes as well, really great changes. So here's somebody who cares about policy, cares about procedures. And you're gonna be an amazing lawyer. I'm just gonna say, I'd hire you. Anyway, I just feel that Aiden has just done so much for the district. That's so much that so many don't even see behind the scenes. So I wanted to acknowledge that. And he really does deserve the Tukwila School District Student Leadership Award. So we could give him a round of applause. I really love working with you, even with your advocacy. Yeah.
Advocacy, fighting you,
It's all good.
it's all the same.
I call it intellectual discourse. That's a nice word, right? Anyway, and so I'm gonna just share my report, just for wrapping up May. Just first I want to start with some gratitude. So I want to thank Showalter and Foster High School staff for their preparation for family conferences. So what I want to say that's really unique about that, a lot of districts don't do conferences for secondary folks, and we do. And so, and guess what? We have a lot of families that show up, a lot of families, 300, 400 families. It's amazing. Attendance is always amazing. And that is because of the principals and the staff putting their work together and making them meaningful and making sure that they are quality time for families. So thank you so much to your staff. I want to say kudos to Mr. Aaron Baldoff, who, when I asked him, could you please be showcased Tukwila School District and the drama club at our big regional event, he said yes. Absolutely. Yes, we'll get them there. So as you heard that the Drama Club performed 2 songs, and it was really fun because I got to MC and I was running around everywhere, but I was like super proud of them. And we honored Aiden, and then we also honored the Stillwater group for the Community Service Award. For those of you who don't know, Stillwater's actually does all this weekend snack packs for our kiddos. And so they deliver them, they provide them every Wednesday, they pack them up, and then they deliver them for the weekend. So it was amazing to highlight that Community Service Award. And then just sharing a lot behind the scenes that people don't know about. I want to thank all the staff that give up their time to be on all these wonderful advisory groups. And the reason why I'm saying this is I'm attending a lot of them right now, as we are, because we're like doing reflection this year and making goals for next year. And so CTE, racial equity, special education, dual language curriculum council, MLL, safety. I mean, and think about that, like all those teams and how small of a district we are. So there's probably people who are on 2 or 3 committees as we speak. That's dedication, that's love for the district, that's love for learning, that's love for our kids and our staff. So I just want to share that and just highlight all of that. And then also the team members that actually lead and coordinate all of those things as well. So thank you so much for supporting our district in that way. Also want to give gratitude for the folks who worked on the 26-27 calendar. We've got it posted online, take a look at it. And then I just want to say, they talk about prom, but what people don't know is the SeaTac Tukwila Rotary Club actually donates prom dresses and outfits for our kiddos and our scholars so that they can have, so those who maybe can't afford a dress or maybe want to try something new, they get it and they get it free of charge. It's kind of what they do. So big thanks to the SeaTac Tukwila. I actually posted on my LinkedIn page. There was a beautiful picture of a girl trying on the dress. It's the back side of it, but it was just like, it gave me chills. It was such a great thing to think about our kiddos, like just looking so their best and just feeling really amazing at this wonderful event. So that's my gratitude for those folks and just upcoming events, because it is the end of the year. So I want to remind people for the record. So Tukwila Elementary families, don't forget, and thank you, Mrs. Eastman, for reminding me, 9:30 this Friday, the International Day Assembly, which is amazing. So if you can go, please, families. Foster High School, they have their showcase tomorrow, from 4:30 to 7. That's highlighting their clubs and their programs. And then they're followed by the award ceremony at 7. So it's a big night at Foster tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then Foster graduation, if you're planning on going, June 5th at 6 p.m. at the Showware in Kent. Like, I know a gal for a ticket, so let me know. And then Showalter Middle School is hosting their 8th grade promotion on Monday, June 15th. The time again, Principal Rieger, what time is that starting?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Sorry, Assistant Principal Press.
Yeah, but 6 o'clock. And then also the last day of school is Tuesday, June 16th. So no one should be coming here on Wednesday. Anyway, that's a lot of wrapping up, a lot of things going on. 15 days of school left, you guys, but we're still rocking and rolling. I mean, we're still doing learning and everything. This is just what we do here in Tukwila. So thank you for everybody, to all the work you do. That's it.
Okay, now we'll go with the Board of Directors report. We'll start over at Dave. If you want to go first.
Sure. I went to the Wausau, which is School Directors Association regional meeting, which was in Tahoma this year, Tahoma School District out in Maple Valley. And it was interesting for a couple of things. First of all, Tahoma, their robotics team actually probably second in the nation in winning, and I was asking them what they were doing, and turns out they have a robotics program that starts in kindergarten. They've been doing this for like 15 years, and they just cranked it up, and so they're one of the best in the world. So that was interesting to see what things that were going on there. Gives you a kind of a blueprint for robotics programs. Like a lot of things require all layers, programs at all layers of the school system. Also, we had one of the senators there, Senator Claire Wilson, from the Federal area, and it was interesting to talk to her get some scoop about what was going on in the legislature and what's some ideas about how to approach advocacy a little better, which was interesting. I went to a career fair down at Showware Center in Kent. It's really a nice, I don't know, there must be 50 to 100 employers show up down there in the Showware Center, and I guess we take a busload of our students down.
Yeah, we had a group of students there.
Yeah, and so they have an opportunity to go around and talk to all the different employers in the area, find something that may be interesting to them to pursue, and so that was really good. I'm on the Wausau School Directors Association Legislative Committee, and we had a meeting over in Spokane this month. It's always interesting to get together with school directors, from around the state, and because people are, there's a lot of, obviously, our society is divided in a lot of ways, and the state has the same kind of divisions. It's good to sit down and talk with the other side. There are different perspectives on it. There was a proposal that came from the Seattle School District, for example, to a legislative position to worded something like reduce youth exposure to guns, which around here that would sound perfectly benign, but when you listen to the folks from Eastern Washington, there's schools over there that have skeet shooting clubs at their high schools, and they have gun safety courses. And so, if they were against this kind of general idea of just, reducing exposure of students to guns. And so anyway, it was a good conversation. I think we're going to come to a kind of middle position about, reduce exposure of students to gun in unsafe ways, because there are safe ways to do it, and that both the east side and the west side could kind of come together. So that's always an interesting dynamic. It always, it's always good to talk with people that don't have the same view of things as you do. And I got to point out, from kind of on Seattle's benefit, the situation at Ingram High School where they had a student that was shot and killed. And when you look at that, there's a couple of lessons from that. First of all, the gun was not locked up at home. And there was really no accountability for that parent in the whole process. And so the gun got into the hand of the student, and the student showed it to one of his friends, and they took it. And so anyway, there's a chain that anyone along the way could have been broken to prevent that tragedy. But anyway, just having those conversations is good. I think it can hopefully bring us more together. I did go to the Pinchtown DSD Awards that Dr. Jost talked about, which was great. Our students did a really great job of, anyway, it was interesting highlighting so the meeting started off with the song about building the wall, which was commenting on, how society is not treating low-income people well and so forth. And then there's a whole bunch of awards to different districts for what all the good things going on in the districts, the student leader awards and the community awards. And then the second song was about, kind of a through theme in the show Hadestown about that, in spite of all the bad things that are going on, human love and beauty endures. And so it was a really nice, well-selected songs by, I understood from Mr. Baldoff that students picked that song, so good job, guys. Let's see, I guess, these are kind of future. I'm going into this senior awards night. I encourage people to show up for the senior awards night. That's always a fun night when, lots and lots of students get awards for scholarships and good things that they've done. So that'll be in the packets 7 o'clock tomorrow, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, just a kind of comment on the Aiden's last, which, he and I have done a lot of good things together in the years that we've been working, and some of them mentioned the Annual Conference where we worked together and brought the drama club allowed them to show off their work and also talk about advocacy about the funding system. We've also been down to Olympia and talked to our legislators, and also Aiden and Rihanna spoke at the town hall, which is a big event that we had up in Newport High School to advocate with legislators. And so lots of good work that has been done. We'll miss them, but I know we'll have another group of students that will be coming in and doing a great job as well. So that's it. Thanks.
Director.
Thank you, Director Proctor, District 4. Continuing excited working on the next steps of introducing this male mentor model to a couple of the schools. We began that discussion waiting on the next blueprint, so I get to follow up with the meeting with Showalter and over at Lorna. So we're excited about that. But more importantly, I just wanted to spend some time to celebrate your season on the board, and you don't have to apologize for your advocacy, even in the experience. You've learned how to. There's one thing to have a passion, but the how to is a part of it. And most importantly, you're gonna be a Husky, man, so you win. It's cool from here, man. So let me know however we can support you, just watching you grow, blossom, and get your feet wet. So we're proud of you, and we're proud of your growth, your development, and your contribution here on the school board. And so again, I'm proud of you. I can't let you know it as often as I can. You've done well, and keep doing well. Just use this as a springboard to do what's next. But even the projects we're working on a collaboration with the students here, Tuckahoe, mostly Foster and Showalter, with the community center and the late night on Friday. Now I done talked myself into lacing up basketball shoes. So if I'm not here, I mean, I'm in urgent care somewhere. I don't know how I got talked into it. Gabe, I'm gonna need you to come down and look out for your boy.
I'm taking video.
You can secure all phones, cameras. You won't have me on World Star. It was going just fine. I should have just backed out. But I'm not that sure. So I'm gonna represent all of us. I'm gonna play with this on. So we're looking forward to just that next step of engaging our students in community resources and what's next with that. So we're looking forward to that. And of course, the graduation. So we're just busy in the community, just trying to continue to do the work of that as it goes forward. So again, we're proud of you. Keep up the work.
Thank you.
Director Forehand?
All right. Well, thank you to everyone that's already given their reports and everyone that will give their reports after me. Since our last meeting, I have been attending our community meetings like the bar, grant events, some ZTE advisory meetings, and just in general, reaching out to people in the public who may have some interpretations of the things that are going on the board. So if you haven't got my number yet, or if you'd like to talk to me about anything in particular, please feel free to reach out to me. In particular, the bar in Grand Street Station, I was able to attend that with a couple of the city councilors, the mayor was there, some of our executive assistants were there. Just being able to be seen in those rooms is kind of where I'm heading right now. But having said that, I did miss the State of the City address due to some personal reasons. But I have been working with, like I said, the other city council members on my own time to make sure that we're forming that group there where we all come together and start working as a full city. Otherwise, we are looking to lock down a time. Like I said, we're looking to lock down a time with both those boards. I have also had meetings with the pool to inform them of our decisions for last time for any potential lease negotiations. While I know there has been calls for board accountability lately, we will be holding a board retreat this Saturday and planning another one in August before the next school year is out to make sure that we are grounding ourselves in current policy and guidelines that we currently have established by a previous board. We will pull that into our new board. Other than that, like I said, give my number out. If you are intimidated to come up and say hi, please don't be worried about the resting bee face. I'm quite the charmer once you get to know me. I promise I will not do anything crazy, except support whatever you need. Other than that, I think we will eventually be starting looking to forming committees and getting more information on that. So hopefully by that August board retreat, we'll actually have some ideas of where we'll take those committees. Otherwise, that will be an agenda item that we'll discuss at a future meeting.
Thank you, Director Charmer. Director Sherlock?
Thank you. Yes, 2 weeks ago, we met with two people from the state of Washington that were auditors by a Teams meeting. It was very interesting to learn about the way that they approach school districts and their method for audit. They have a very, I would describe it as a very strong plan, very consistent. I was really pleased that they had so many wonderful things to say about the school district of Tukwila. Obviously, we can thank our CFO for the excellent work that she's been doing. And so really just an encouragement to get to meet with people that really have a tough job to oversee financial accountability of school districts all over our state. And again, like I said, just to have a positive opinion that they did about the city, or rather the Tukwila School District. So that was really a pleasure. Another quick thing I just wanted to address. The city recently published in their, here, in their Hazelnut, very good article about keeping Tukwila clean. I won't read it, but it's how we're tackling litter and how we can help. I came down here to a soccer game a couple of weeks ago. It was against Clearwater, and I got here kind of early, so I started to walk around Foster High School, and I'm specifically looking at the condition of the gardens and the tennis court and things like that. But I did see a little bit more trash than I think that I'm normally seeing. And the reason why I bring that up is it's not because of the students. I bet you, I would say probably very few students. Maybe it's people that are coming onto the grounds or something like that. But I did want to commend the custodial staff. Obviously, they have an enormous job to keep the grounds clear. And we have so many trash cans set out around the school building itself, out in the parking lot. I just want to remind people to use those. It's really just, it's tough to walk around and you know there's a big game coming here, and all the parents and the grandparents are coming to watch their kids play soccer, and then to have garbage strewn on the ground was just, it was disappointing. So again, the city of Tukwila has really just recently said, hey, let's try and keep our city clean. So let's do the same thing for our schools too. And had I had a garbage bag with me, I would have started picking trash up, but I didn't have anything like that. So anyway, just a reminder for that. The other thing I just wanted to touch on really quickly is there is a multilingual musical migration stories that's going to be June 3rd at 6:30 at Foster High School PAC. And I'm certain that's going to be a wonderful thing. It's fourth graders, and what a great age to see them singing and acting out. If you can make it to that, that would be an excellent thing to do. And I also want to thank our sitting-in president today. You're doing a great job. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I can say that we had one tough time, and I apologize for that. You're going to make a good lawyer because you can draw it out of people, and that is quite a skill. And so I commend you for that.
Thank you.
I'm a big believer in drama, and I think it's a wonderful thing for getting students and young people to be expressive, to get up in front of people. At my place of work, when somebody gets up and gives a presentation that has a little drama experience or acting experience, they can really grab the audience. And when they're trying to sell something, which is in business you're often trying to do, it is a powerful skill to be able to act and engage in drama in a positive way. It just really gets people's interest, and so it's a tremendous skill that you have. And I just want to encourage you, and certainly our other student representative Wells have already commended them for their excellent work on the 12 Angry Jurors. Again, that was just a fantastic event. So with that, I'll pass it on.
Thank you. Okay. Does the chair have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, the motion on the table is to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. And now we are going to move on to the superintendent contract review. If you want to sit up there, if you want.
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay. I don't know, maybe you want to be special over there.
She's special.
I didn't, you're getting to apply that you're not special right now.
Just maybe over there is oh so
Okay.
special. I don't know how we want to start this, but if anyone would like to start the discussion, that'd be more than okay.
Yeah, I can start with it. So I've had this, the proposal in here is for several new items to be added, from vacation days to tax sheltered annuity to the doctoral. And for a long time, I've been opposed to kind of adding what in essence are costs via these side issues. I'm perfectly fine to add all the costs of those and just put it into the salary of the superintendent and increase it that way. We used to have all kinds of things in the contract, from, superintendent wanted a car or this, that, and the other thing. And I'm just kind of philosophically opposed to adding the things in as kind of extras as opposed to just putting it in the salary, just because it's, by putting it in the salary, it becomes much more transparent to see what the district, what the school district and taxpayers are actually paying for it. So I'm perfectly fine with adding the salary, but I'm not, I would oppose kind of doing it in these kind of adding, these additions here and there. So
If I may, Brother
Yeah, let's just go down the table. That's a
Chair,
good way to start.
well said, Director Larson. I don't even know that I've opposed or support. I just been involved with discussions with other superintendents and other boards. And from the same standpoint that often, the other compensation from education, vacation days, et cetera, actually is more powerful for the taxpayer than the percentage of salary going up in the midst of financial discourse. A lot of times the taxpayer is like, wait a minute, we just, case enough. And we're just coming out of binding conditions and all of a sudden superintendent gets a salary increase. When in fact, we still have to be competitive to keep our great superintendent. So oftentimes that's the yin and the yang. And what you articulated is actually accurate, but both are true. So a lot of times you go to the public and what are we doing to keep her from going to Highline or whatever district, you know, and then you start navigating that. I've seen in Portland, Seattle, all these other districts, they wrestle with that. So it's a legitimate point and both sides of those coins still flip. That's just part of the discussion. So if you have a candidate that says this is the area I would hope for this to be adjusted, then you try to work with them. Those are my thoughts, because I don't have a conflict with what you said, but I've also listened to other schools of thoughts. And so my approach has been to, okay, let's listen to the candidate that you want. What does that person say? This is how I feel appreciated, respected, and this is what's competitive for me to continue to do the work. So, which kind of draws some of us out of our silo of preference to, okay, let's look at a case specific. And so I think we should also consider that even as we consider best practices, what really works, because we do have to answer to the taxpaying community, and that's not a monolith. Nobody wants costs to go up, but other than that, what does that really look like? So those were some of the schools of thoughts, just from the comparable with other districts, other superintendents, and walking with other boards on how they navigated that. So I'm putting that out there on the record. So, and then, like I said, I want the record to show that that's neither conflict nor support. There's more than one school of thought on how to present that to the taxpayer who, because the only thing worse than either one of those positions is losing the superintendent and having to get another. And those prices don't go down. So I just want to put that in there and just let us march through with both of those schools of thoughts and see if we can come to wisdom.
Let's keep going this way, have everyone have a kind of opening statement. So I think we should do this. Director Forehand.
Thank you, Directors Larson and Director Reckon Proctor. I couldn't be in more agreement with Director Proctor. I do believe that this is, not a crazy ask, and not asking for a salary increase at all is commendable. And we do want to keep you happy and keep you here, because in my time as a student here, I've been able to see that there has been quite a few changes. And I love those changes that are happening. So I don't think that 3 days of vacation is going to be too much of an ask. And then same thing, even if we do put that into the salary, I still think having that time to recover and be able to have your own time, specifically what you asked, is where I would be heading. Otherwise, I have nothing else to add.
Director Sherlock.
Yes, I would lean a little closer to what Director Larson said. One of the things about that I noticed right away was about the opportunity to get paid for unused vacation. I've worked at companies and worked for public employers both ways, where you get paid for unused vacation, where you don't. And I think one of the strong points about not getting paid for vacation that you don't take is it kind of makes you, and I say that in a positive way, it makes you take your vacation. Taking your vacation is for your good health. And it's some people, you will see in extreme cases where people won't take their vacation. And of course, I understand here in the document it's limited, but we want those that work to go on vacation when they've earned it. It's I think I would dare say that I don't think I've met anybody that hasn't had a good vacation away from work for a short time. And so I think it's a good help. So particularly I'm concerned about that point in this document.
Okay, Arlen, would you like to have any statement on this?
No.
Okay. I'll just, before we start bouncing off each other, and then more open discussion, I'd like to say that I have rarely met any other people that work as hard as you do. Every time I go in here, you are stressed beyond belief. I mean, when I first got here, your hair was down to here, now it's up to here. And I'm not gonna lie, that might be stress related. You need to take some vacation days, because it's not good for you. Yeah, that's all I'll say. Little levity.
Can I just say a couple
Yeah.
things, just a couple things, so, two things, one is, the doctorate stipend was what I originally had in my contract. I took it away during binding conditions, and I'm asking to put that back, so that's, asked to just put back to what I originally had. Same with, I think, let me see, I also just mentioned my notes are here, so I just want to make sure for the record that that's there. I also just want to share, if you look at the questions and answers, and I wrote this in my statement, in 2024, 25, I took 12 furlough days, so whatever my salary was, and then in 25, 26, I received no COLA or the doctor's stipend, which is what I took away. So asking to consider putting those back. I am not interested in a salary increase. I think it's just fiscal steward responsibility. I'm actually at the end of my career, getting towards the end of my career. I'm not interested in making, what other superintendents make. But I thought of just having a little bit of compensation in some other areas would be helpful for me, especially when getting towards retirement age. So thinking about that is more important to me right now than anything else. But that's really the ask that I had. And so I just wanted to state for the record. And then just to compare, just for comparison, so the comparable districts to us, Mercer Island Superintendent makes $290. The Bainbridge Island Superintendent makes $294, and the Fife Superintendent makes $285. When you think about comparison to like-sized districts in this area, and I'm below all of that.
Dr. Pedrosa.
Yeah.
All respect, much respect and love, brother acting Chip. I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
With you having to defend what you're.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted
I
to
want
say
you
for
to
the
do
record, I just want to make sure.
I'm gonna say it,
Okay, you can say it.
let me say it.
Got it.
She's earned it. She's earned it. Now, we get to decide what that needs to look like. We're not gonna argue whether or not she's earned it or worked it. But we're not gonna do that. So we can figure out,
Yeah.
what that needs to look like. You don't have to do that. Child, I was here. I was here. So, no, I don't want you to be in that position. I don't even feel comfortable with that. It makes sense. And there's more than one way to get there. That's all I'm saying, brother Dave.
Yeah.
Neither one's wrong. We just figure out the best way to get there. And because we respect and appreciate the work we've done, and I'm optimistically excited about what's next. Now, how do we secure that? That's the question. So, Mr. Chairman, we're in your hands. We're not gonna put you on the hot seat to.
Okay.
Not while I'm here.
Does anyone have any more discussion on this item?
Yeah, I'd just say, I agree with Director Wright. This is not a matter of, does she earn the pay increase? For me, it's about how it's put in the contract, because once these things get into contracts, and they tend to perpetuate to the next person, the next person, the next person. And a number of years ago, I spent time trying to get out a lot of this stuff, so you've been in the contract, so, and I think, this, for example, the retirement thing, if it's put it in the salary, and you can buy a 403B. You can absolutely do that. And so, and I'm always a little bit, when we talk about vacation days and whether or not it's consistent, whether
superintendent gets a special bump above what the other, folks get. I like it kind of a consistent vacation policy, and if we want to, the implication here is kind of a reward, seniority, and that's fine. That can be built into a consistent, vacation policy for all the administrators. Because the other thing that happens is as soon as you put it in one contract, then everybody else wants in their contract. And so it's kind of a consistent, would be, I think, good. And as far as the doctoral stipend goes, I mean, the old one said the salary, which included the 3,500. And so that's, that should still be in there. I don't know about, you used to say suspended it for a year.
That was a suggestion. Yeah, we suspended it.
Okay, I mean, that's obviously that, yeah, I agree, that should be put back, but it should be, just put it in the salary and, and you would still end up, being, below some of these comparables. But I just think that's a more straightforward way to do it. But yeah, the question is not, whether you've earned all that. It's just a question of how you do it.
Yeah. Any more discussion? Or any questions for anyone? Or anything? Over here? Dr. Sherlock? Any more discussion? No? Seeing no more discussion on this, do you have any more? Nope. Okay, nope. Then we can move on. On to the presentation for the 26-27 budget. Our amazing CFO,
Amazing, all caps.
Amy and Fleming.
Good evening, Amy Fleming, Chief of Finance and Operations, to present the, just an update on where we are with the 26-27 budget. So the numbers in this presentation are very preliminary at this point, and will be changing again before I present the budget to you in July. So it's very fluid as we speak. So as we go through the presentation, we always keep in mind our strategic, not our presentation, but when we're developing our budget, we always go with the top layer, which is our strategic plan, which is listed here on page 2. We've seen this several times, so I'm not going to go through this slide in detail. In addition, during budget development, we also have our anti-racist goals. So we keep that in our forefront as we are making our decisions for what our budget will look like in the upcoming year. And again, I won't go through those slides in detail. So budget requirements, I don't know if you recall the presentation I provided in February, but we're required by state law to have a budget approved by the school board no later than August 31st. However, in doing so, we also have to have a budget that is approved by the Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction no later than August 31st. So school boards or school districts that present a budget to their board anywhere past about the middle of August, so really running into some significant risks, especially if they have a school board that really isn't on the same page or doesn't agree with what is being presented. So we back that up as we're going through this process. So what I've done is built in a little bit of time. So what I'll do is do the public hearing, I'll do the budget presentation so that I can gather feedback from you all to incorporate any changes that may be necessary in order to bring the final budget to you at the August 12th meeting. Okay, so that's a little bit of some background as to why we back up and run through all the processes that we run. So when we budget, we want to budget sufficiently so that I don't have to come to you in the middle of the school year to ask for a budget extension. We cannot exceed what they call our appropriations, so we can't exceed the total amount that we set as our expenditure level in our budget. And if we think we're going to do so, I am required to come to you
and basically do a mini budget all over again. We're required to have a public hearing, we're required to post it in the newspaper for 2 weeks. And then it comes to you for adoption. So we always try to make sure that we have sufficient capacity established in our budgets so that I'm not having to come back to you mid-year because there's something that we didn't think of. Okay. And obviously, as we're developing our budget starting in December, January, thinking about plans of what it's going to look like next year. And of course, it's a plan and things change. So while we think of something now, it may look a little bit differently when we actually start the school year in September. So let's say we think there's a grant that we've always received. We're going to continue getting it, and then all of a sudden we find out in late August that it's not coming through. That does happen, and so we just want to make sure that we're nimble enough to make those changes. So, questions on this page at all?
So is this giving you enough time, Mitchell Foran for District 1, is this giving you enough time for the August 12th, or could we do it sooner to potentially prevent this from going over time?
No, it gives me enough time for the August 12th. I'm required actually to present a budget to our local ESD. So the way the process works is that we develop the budget, it gets uploaded into the system, statewide system. And that's required to be presented to the ESD by July 10th. So I have to have some sort of budget document prepared and sent to them. Which gives me plenty of time to do a public hearing. And then at that point, I'm just making those minor changes or hopefully minor changes to the budget document before it's presented for final approval. So I have plenty of time.
Thank you for breaking that down.
Mm-hmm. So the budget development timeline, I've pretty well gone through. Just to give you a little bit of the history, obviously we had our legislative session. It was a short session. I provided you some budget and staffing information. Director Dubanov and I did that in the February 10th meeting. And so we're now May 26th, and I'm just giving you an update of where we are. On slide 9, so the outcome of the legislative session, as everybody is well aware, it was the short session. All they provided was what they called maintenance level spending. So they looked at, and even then, I don't even think it was truly keeping pace with kind of what we're facing currently. So maintenance level takes a look at caseload, looks at forecasts. So caseload is their enrollment projections, the forecasts. And then they make those adjustments as necessary, what they think the funding should look like. So they offered IPD, which is 2.6% inflation price deflator, which is essentially the COLA, and then made some minor adjustments to the material, supplies, and operating costs. And I can tell you right now, based on everything that we're seeing, it is nowhere near what we're facing for districts on those costs, and I'll get into that here shortly. As I've also pointed out in one of our previous meetings, they did make some changes and they were all pretty much cuts. They reduced the running start funding from 1.4 to 1.3 FTE, which essentially means that students who take any summer courses aren't funded. So we're not funded if a student wants to go and take the summer course. We are no longer funded for that, so they don't have that opportunity. Excuse me. I talked about the inflationary adjustment for the 2.6. The BEST grant, there's been reductions and limitations placed on our beginning education support program. So the funding that is now provided only supports first-year educators in the mentoring program. And right now we haven't received that true allocation from OSPI, so I don't know what that funding is. We should be receiving that sometime in June. In our transportation vehicle fund, they changed the depreciation payment schedule for the life of our bus. And that fund helps support long-term loans if we have to purchase vehicles, bus vehicles, or if we were to purchase a bus outright, if we had enough funding, but they changed that depreciation life schedule from 13 to 15 years, retroactive to September of 2025. So we were initially receiving funding for $313,000. And I'm sorry, I did not put the K behind that to indicate that it was 313,000. And we were just notified that that funding was reduced to 294,000. So that does have an impact. It's not a huge impact right now, but it also impacts future bus purchases and what that depreciation would look like for those payments that would come into us. For zero emission school buses, their district reimbursement payment is reduced to 33% of the baseline quote of the bus for 25 and 26 and 27 and 28. And that is pretty substantial for anybody who is in that program that has recently purchased zero emission buses. So we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, so we don't have any zero emission buses. And are we anticipating in those in 27, 28?
We were anticipating, we were looking at some of the programs and looking at the, instituting the grants and things like that. So based on a lot of the analysis, we're gonna have to cut back a little bit on that grant because part of this and then the ongoing operating costs too. Just over time, we know that it would reduce, but in the beginning, you just can't afford both of those things. It would just be it wouldn't work well for us.
Okay. So we're just gonna do what makes economic sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a frog in my throat. Our federal funding is flat. So Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV, which are all Department of Education grants. We've just received the allocations, preliminary allocations, very late Friday afternoon. In some cases, we received a reduction, and in other cases, we received an increase. So overall, the funding, I would just say, is flat from the current year, which is in a lot of ways good news because for a while we thought it was going to be significantly cut. So we're happy with what we've got. For special ed, the IEDA, the federal portion, we haven't received the final allocation, so I'm using the current year allocation in this presentation today. School food services, the nutrition program, we think will be about 1.9 million that we're receiving funding. And our Gear Up program, we're still working through as well, and that is the current year allocation. And so we're looking to see what changes are going to be made in that federal allocation for us. So again, very preliminary for the general fund. It obviously remains tight for 26, 27, and we also anticipate really not any funding for 27, 28. And I, at this point, am thinking that there may be further reductions from the state, just based on economic forecasts and what they're predicting in the future. As I've discussed in previous meetings, we know that enrollment is projected, has been declining this current fiscal year. Based on state forecasts, birth rates, things of that nature, we continue to expect enrollment to decline in the out years. Puget Sound ESD has strongly recommended that all school districts in the Puget Sound region anticipate a 3 to 5% enrollment loss. So we, just based on what we've been seeing in enrollment loss this year, we're projecting a 4% loss. And you see that on this next slide. So as you know, enrollment, as I provided in our February meeting, enrollment drives our state funding. It's our primary funding source that gives us our state apportionment. And so as you can see, 22, 23, we We're coming out of the COVID years, and so, back in 1920, the district had about 2,700 students. COVID came into play and we saw a huge drop. And then in 23-24, we saw a large increase, due to just the immigration population, and everything kind of held through and stabilized in 24-25, and this year we're starting to see the actual reduction in the number of students that we're serving.
Because in 25, Trump happened.
Correct. And so we anticipate, because of the current policies, that enrollment will continue to decline for next year. So based on that, we are projecting right now, as of today, that our revenues will be about 61.4 million. These are high level categories. When I provide the budget to you in July, it will be it'll be much more detailed, but this is the way that we present our budget to the state. So a little background, local resources are property taxes, investment earnings, and any kind of miscellaneous revenue that we might receive through donations and other sources. Our state resources is our apportionment, so our funding from the state and state grants. Federal resources is our federal funding that we receive. And then other grants and donations might be, for example, the outdoor education would be falling in that category. Within this number, $2 million is built in for capacity for potential new grants or new funding sources that might come in. So just want you to know that there is capacity on the revenue side for this.
Does the local issues include both EP&O and capital projects, so both of them?
No, just EP&O.
Okay, so the capital projects levy goes into a separate,
Fund.
the capital projects fund.
Yes,
And then I think later you talk about
the transfer.
some of it transfers back into the general fund to support the technology side of it.
Yes,
Okay, so this is a little bit, I mean, it's leaving out that,
correct.
okay.
Yeah, so again, these numbers are very preliminary. I'll make sure that they're definitely updated in more detail for you as we provide you more information.
And this takes into account the increase in local, so that they raised the levy cap, the local levy cap, and this takes into account that part of it. Okay.
Yes, that includes that calculation as well. On the expenditure side, we're still working through all of the details. So the pie chart here is just a rough estimate on percentages of how we spend our money. Majority, obviously, about 82% is between certificated salaries, classified salaries, and the benefits that go along with it. We spend about 17% on what is called purchase services. Purchase services is a broad category. It includes insurance, utilities, any contract expenses, if we do any professional development, trying to think of what else, subscriptions for certain things that the schools need, things of that nature. And then our supplies and materials are roughly 3% of our costs.
Isn't the biggest part of purchase services to support special education?
And special ed, yes. And so it's our contracted, some of our contracts
Right.
for special
Yeah.
education as well, yes.
As a matter of fact, that's probably most of that.
I would say that it's our utilities is right up there as well, utilities and insurance.
And insurance, yeah, those two together. Okay, so that's 50, okay.
So, sorry, can you go back one? We are seeing, and I want to point this out, and I want to make sure you're all aware, we're seeing significant increases in our utilities. It's going to be about a 10% increase. Now, we're hoping some of that gets offset with the projects that we have this summer with the solar panel installation at Showalter and Tukwila. We don't know what that true savings will look like until we get that up and operating. So we're hoping that the 10% isn't 10%. You know, you always have to factor in winter and what that might look like for us and everything else. And so those costs can be different, a little bit different, depending on our winters and you know, how cold it gets. Obviously, gas prices, we have seen jump about 40% due to the Iran conflict. We don't know when that's coming down. We're starting to see some of our vendors charges fuel surcharges as well, so that is impacting us. And the biggest thing that is getting this is our insurance coverage. It has jumped 41.6%. So this current year, we paid $978,000. It's jumping to almost $1.4 million next year. Huge hit. And so when I talked about MSOC not keeping pace with our the increases that they gave us from the legislation is nowhere near what the cost increases are on material supplies and operating costs for these three factors alone. So just puts a drain on the system and that reliance on the local EP levy that we have.
Have you gone far enough in the solar? Do we think that the solar panels, for example, going into Tuckahoe Elementary will be sufficient to meet all the energy needs in that school?
I can't answer that,
I haven't
but
got that far.
hopefully,
No, it's not gonna it's not gonna cover all the energy, but it will be, it will be substantial from energy and reduction of VOIs too as well. So we will have a battery backup but it will be used especially when we don't have power, so all that. But it will not surpass, I mean, it's, you know, not gonna lower the cost.
So that are you gonna be able to use, like, you know, when it's cold in the winter and it's cloudy over and there's not enough solar to drive the heating system? Or is it strictly, does the battery strictly kick in when the power goes out, or can it be used when?
It can be used for,
Okay.
or it can be used for
Okay.
other equipment too as well.
Okay.
The lights and such. It will reduce our uses of energy,
Yeah,
but it's not gonna cover, it's not enough to
Yeah.
cover
everything, yeah.
that is in there.
It'll be interesting I'll be interested to hear, I don't know, have you got far enough in the analysis to know that? I mean, at some point or other, I think they probably will be able to estimate that.
We
Yeah,
can
yeah.
ask for that
Yeah.
information, as we're, right now, at this moment, we're in a procurement,
Yeah,
getting all that equipment ready for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
and so for the record, that was Director Cardenas.
And what's the average temperature that we keep our schools at? The average temperature that we keep the schools at?
We keep an average of from 68 to 72 degrees.
68 to 17.
That's the normal for all school district.
You'd like to continue?
So in the capital projects fund, this is also very preliminary at this time. So we use this for construction, renovation, upgrades to facilities. It's also used for our, some of our technology funding, and it's funded by our levy, currently by our levy. But this is also where we would have our proceeds if we were to ask the voters to approve a bond for like any major construction, including a potential rebuild or major remodel of our schools. This is where we hold these funds and pay for the costs associated with that. So right now, again, this is preliminary budgeting. On the revenue side, it's pretty firm because it is levy. And so this is based on what the voters approved during our last levy, capital technology levy. It also includes investment earnings and then any potential build-in for some grants from the state that require us to code it and keep it in the capital. So like an indoor air quality as an example would be something that we would put into the capital projects fund. Again, the transfer to the general fund. So there is a RCW, Revised Code of Washington, that dictates kind of some of our technology expenses and how we have to code those. They want us to keep them as much as possible into the general fund. So what we should be doing is then transferring, instead of keeping it in a capital project, transferring it over general fund and transferring the quote unquote, as I call revenue proceeds. They call it a transfer out and a transfer into the general fund to cover those costs.
I just want to make sure we weren't borrowing from the.
No,
capital.
it's not a
Yes.
bond, it's actually,
Right.
just some requirements, it's in our school accounting manual as well, and so that's why it's built in this way. The expenditures right now is just a figure that has been put in there. It is a capacity, number, we know on the technology side, it's roughly a little over $3 million. For the projects that were approved by the voters and what was established in the 4-year plan. And then the remaining amount, is we're working through to, develop those projects for the, kind of the repairs and renovations. Just to make sure that we have sufficient capacity, but then we're not overspending, and going into the negative. The debt service fund says preliminary, but this is probably the only budget right now that is pretty firm. And the reason why is it's very easy to build is, so what it's doing is it takes into consideration the bond that we're paying off over time. As you know, we went through and we did a huge funding of some of our debt to save taxpayers some money. So the revenue is consisting of the levy for the bond and investment earnings and the transfer in from the transportation vehicle to pay the loan related to those buses. The expenditures are the principal and interest payments that we're making on our bonds and then our bus loans that we currently have. And so these numbers are probably not going to change and they're probably pretty firm at this point. Associated student body, again, pretty kind of preliminary. So Foster, I think did an excellent job. I think they go through the process every year. They work through all of their budgets, information, decide or have a plan of what they think they're going to do and how they're going to spend their money. And then they summarize it all on a spreadsheet. They send it over to me. And then I add in components for investment earnings because they do generate some investment earnings off of that. And then I'll add additional information, especially in the area of private monies for InvestEd. It's not something that the student body at Foster has control over, so I'll add funding for that as well. And then I work a little bit with Showalter. Their activities aren't nearly as significant as Foster, and so we'll add in some additional capacity for Showalter's activities as we move forward.
So looking at this, what this is telling me, when I'm looking at the fund balance going down from 310 to 107, is that, and I guess this is, obviously this is projected budget,
Yeah.
is that they're proposing to spend significantly more money on athletics and the general student body. And that's, so how is that decision?
Well, they've been working with some good sizable fund balance numbers too, as they're moving forward. And so, I think what happens is, you always build in your capacity of what you hope or what you think you're going to do.
Right.
So that we don't have to come back to the board
Right.
and ask for more.
Right.
I think if you look at the actual activity though, over time, they're spending less on their expenditure side than probably what is budgeted. But again, it's the student body, it's their, they're looking at, here's all the potential things we could do, and here's our pot of money that we know we can spend. And so this is what this is what we think we're gonna plan for. And so we allow that to happen as long as they're not gonna, exceed their expenditures, they're not gonna exceed both the revenues and the fund balance that they're starting with. So-
Yeah, I mean, that's been my question is, we have these pending fund balances of over $300,000, and there's lots of needs, and so what this is saying is that we're gonna spend that fund balance down
Mhm.
to 107, and where we're gonna put it is, or what, I mean, we meaning the students, are gonna put it into the general student body and the athletics programs.
Yes, in some cases, yes.
Can maybe I clarify?
Yeah, sure.
Aiden Halleck, ASB treasurer.
Nah.
Authorized. Well, Director Larson, so how the ASB budget process works is we send out a budget request form to every single student organization. So like, let's take athletics for an example. We send out their budget request. They'll fill out all of the possible revenues that they think. They put down what, a reasonable amount of money they can expect to make from those certain revenue sources. And then they put down all of their expenditures. And then they vote on that in their own club. That I don't see any of it. I mean, I do, and I audit that. But they are in charge of creating their own budgets, and then they send that to the ASB. And then the ASB has a budget meeting where we look over every single requested budget. And then if everything is in order, they have their minutes in order. It doesn't look like, I've seen some horrible minutes before, and we have had to send them back and tell them, get your stuff together. We once had a screenshot of a Google chat message, and that was their meeting minutes. We once had someone put in the actual amount of minutes that the meeting took place for their minutes, like how long, and we had to tell them, that's not what we mean, tell us what you want, and they did. And let's say football, I don't remember football's numbers off the top of my head. Let's say they wanted, their expenditures, because they can't spend more than they request. They can't spend more than they have requested in their expenditures. And they know that they can't spend money that they don't have. So the revenues that they're saying that they're bringing in might be more than they think. It might be less than they think, but they want their expenditures to be at or all the possible expenditures to be at a higher level, so that they can have enough budget to do what they want to do and to be able to help those students in whatever way. But also, in terms of need, there's a lot of laws restricting what we can actually buy with ASB dollars. There might be a lot of need, for students, but as soon as ASB dollars and academics get involved, it gets really, really risky, and you can't do that. Like, let's say, football wanted to buy a bunch of footballs. A general PE class cannot use those footballs that are bought for football. Right. Because as soon as something is related to a grade or academics, it is not allowed to be purchased with ASB money. So I don't know, maybe that clarifies a little bit on anything. If do you have any other questions on the ASB?
No, I'm just happy to see that the spend down is happening, because I thought 3,000 is too much to just be sitting there.
Yeah.
And I'm happy, okay, athletics and general student body, I'll be interested to hear where that, obviously, you've come up with some other ways to spend it that are legal. And so I'll be curious to hear what those additional things are.
Yeah, and it's ASB, I know it says general student body, but only not very small. A good percentage of that is the actual ASB, but a lot of that is new clubs, that, have just been formed, like LSU, all these things that have $0 right now,
Right.
but are very hopeful that they can, get a lot of money and spend a lot of money and make those students happy and have a nice.
Yeah, but that's what I thought
Yeah.
was student needs, so you
Yeah.
guys are identifying, and I'm just pointing out, I'm happy to see that that's
Yeah.
happening, because I've been kind of advocating for that to happen, and
Yeah.
it sounds like you're doing it, that's great.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You keep going.
You're much more close to the process at the high school level, so I do appreciate you providing that clarification, so. So we move to the transportation vehicle fund. This is the final fund that we have to work on. So again, this is used, so we can, transportation vehicle fund is very limited on how we can spend funds in this category. We can use it to purchase new buses, which we, like I had said, the depreciation payments from the legislature are never sufficient enough for us to outright purchase buses. Or we can take loans and then use the funds that come in every single year to transfer that over to the debt service fund in order to repay the loan. And so unfortunately, that's what Tukwila ends up doing because the buses get old, we purchase several buses at one time, and then we take a loan and finance those buses and then repay them over time. The revenues are from the state depreciation. Right now, I don't know what that revenue is looking like. They're still working through the depreciation schedule. So right now I've just put in the number of 295,000 as our revenue. Expenditures, I always put in capacity in case something happens, because the other thing that we can use for the transportation fund is if there is a major catastrophic event for one of our buses and it requires a significant repair. That is the rule. And so I always put in the capacity for that just in case. So that 758,000 is not a planned expenditure, it's a just in case expenditure. And then the transfer to the debt service fund, that number is solid. That is the amount of principal and interest payments that we're making on our current bus loans that we have in place. So that is it. Again, I will be providing more detailed information at the July 28th meeting. And then I'll be coming back, incorporating any feedback that you might have, and then bringing the final budget to you for a final vote on August 11th. I know, dry information.
What is
Is
Yeah,
there?
but it's dry. I get it.
It's riveting.
Yeah. Riveting's a word. Is there any last comments, questions, concerns on the 26-27 budget update? Seeing none, we're going to move into our question. Don't go anywhere, baby. I know you're thinking about it, but you can't leave. Questions only presentations. Remember, all board members, this is questions only, new questions that we have not already been answered. If anything's come up, ask them. But if you're just feeling like saying the same question that you asked on the document, please find it in yourself to not repeat yourself. I'm sure it's hard. But anyway, I should stop preaching. Here you go. 2026 financial forecast. Woo. Anything? Any new questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm going to count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, we're going to move on. You can't leave. I'm just kidding. Okay, monthly financial statement, April 2026. Any questions or comments?
Hey, count down from 3.
3,
Yes.
2.
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do? You do? I'm so sorry. You can go. You can go, Director Lynch.
So we have these various funds set up primarily supporting McKinney-Vento students, and there's this big chunk of money called a flexible spending donation that has been there for a while and doesn't get used. And I'm just, this kind of defies logic to me. Are you saying that we really don't have any needs among those students, and that, I mean, we're talking about the Tukwila Children's Foundation is talking about raising what, $300,000 to give us to student needs, and yet we can't figure out how to spend $10,000. And this is kind of mysterious to me. Can you help me out with? I understand, you're spending the dollars that are coming from the state first because you can't carry them over, but We really, there's nothing else that nobody has any,
There's a plan to spend that money by the end of,
okay,
at least by the end of December, if not sooner. So we will make
Okay.
that sign, working with program people, make sure that it is actually spent. So,
Okay.
yeah, our, obviously, I think what's been prioritized, obviously, is the state and federal
Yeah,
grants.
sure.
But yes, we are looking to obviously spend all of those funds as well in the, flexible, spending funding that we received.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how big is the Tuckahoe Children's Foundation still working on,
There specifically, it's not for MKB, so yeah.
but
it's-
just needs in general?
Yeah, needs in general.
Well, flexible spending is needs in general as well.
Yeah, no, it's targeted, so, and I'm looking at Amber behind, Ms. Fleming, Director Mon, because we have a plan in place to spend that. It's specific, so we actually have, they haven't raised the $300,000 yet, but there specifically is to support families who are going through major transitions
Right,
through to safety issues. And then this specifically is for our qualified MKV students as dedicated to those funds. So that they will support our families. Not all of our families that deal with safety issues are actually MKV students. So that'll be spent first, and then we will use Tukwila Children's Foundation funds if there's an unmet need for our MKV students as well.
okay, I just want to make sure we do these plans, because money's just
Yeah.
sitting there, and you talk about the Afghan refugee, you know. We couldn't seem to figure out how to spend it, and I'm pretty sure it's not because we don't have needs. So as long as we're, you know,
Yeah,
going
that,
after the plan and working on it, okay.
That was interesting because how they wanted us to spend the funds was a little bit problematic. And then we were reaching out to the CBO several times, and there were circumstances that were happening where we weren't getting responses, you know, to no fault of anybody.
People on leave there.
Yeah, it was just like the worst things that kept coming through. And then suddenly, when there was a response, the criteria wasn't specific enough, and the dollar amounts that they wanted to charge us to do this work was just well and above. And it was just like, I looked at it and was like, oh, we're at huge risk of audit finding. We just need to just kind of just walk away from this, because it just would have not worked out well for us in the end.
Okay.
And I didn't want to risk us doing something and then having a potential audit finding and payback because it's federal funding. So I was just like, no, let's just stop and not do anything.
Yeah, well, yeah, that all makes sense. It just
Yeah.
drives me nuts when I see money sitting there.
I understand.
But I get you, yeah, you gotta do your due diligence,
Yeah.
which is correct. Okay,
Okay. Just as a statement to everyone else that might come up with questions on the presentation, if you do not have an answer right now, feel free to respond at a later date. If you do not have the ability to magically come up with data in your mind, like Amy does. And is there any more questions on this? 3, 2, are there? No. 1, 0. Okay. You can leave now. Okay.
Can I say one thing? I'm gonna
yes.
ask all my directors when they come up, because you haven't presented in a while, to make sure you introduce yourself and your position as we have a new board. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it is for the department update for athletics.
Good evening, everyone. Gacy Terry, Director of Athletics.
Does anyone have any questions at all?
I have a quick question, a discussion about maybe needing a new batting cage. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it has been on our to-do list for some years now, for sure. We actually used to have one back when I was in high school. Yeah, honestly, we still have the structure out,
I've seen it.
by the baseball field. We still have the poles. We honestly just need to do a little bit of maintenance to it and fix the poles and get a new net. And I think maybe lay down a little bit of some foundation, throw some turf in there. I think would be great for our programs, our baseball and our softball.
Do you still have the machine that throws the ball?
Yeah, we
And
have.
it still works?
Yep.
So you're just
Yep, we have-
missing this netting, excuse me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
It's not a question, but it's just
Yeah,
congratulations on really running a really nice program here. I always love it when you come in and say that participation rate increases in the year. That's great. And, also this year you got I guess it was the regional basketball, tournaments at Foster High School,
Yep.
which is great. I love the new scoreboard where you actually can put up the names of the team. That's
Yeah.
very rare. I don't know, people go to high school, events, it's usually home and guest, and you can actually put in the name of the teams, which is, I don't know if that helped you get it or not, but anyway, that was a nice addition, so, good job all around, and of course, the basketball teams, boys and girls did really well this year, and so.
okay. I'm gonna add one thing and say, great job. Great job, Gabe. Nothing would function without you. None of our teams would be as great as they were without you. You're doing great. And does anyone have any last questions?
I had one more question
Okay.
about the tennis courts. I was mentioning how I kind of did an extensive walk through the school district, or rather, high school the other day. And I noticed that one of the tennis courts has a longitudinal crack down the center of it.
Yes.
And tennis players tend to be persnickety about that. It can cause them to trip or the ball to bounce. Is there any plan to resurface that tennis court?
Yes, we actually had.
We had a conversation.
We had an email today about it.
Oh, we don't have to come up.
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually had a conversation today. One of the problems we're having with the tennis courts is that tennis courts were built in 1992, right, when we did the new school. So they were old. And the problems that we're having on it is that they don't have, it was an old construction and they don't have a mold. So the concrete itself tends to stand and retract.
Sure.
So we actually, in 2022 to 2023, will resurface, try to get rid of all the cracks in there, and resurface the whole tennis court, but then, with the weather itself, it came back. So the consultation from the vendors are that we have to remove the whole concrete and redo again. So that's a pricey project. So at this moment, we are just going to patch the problems that we're having and then just waiting for funding and then see if that, we can bring that, project up into our list on capital projects.
Is there any future thought about making those nets so they could drop down so people could play pickleball? Put pickleball.
What we thought about, when we did finish to do the floor and we actually, after the project was done, Gabe comes to me and said, hey, we forgot about that. Well, we got a pickleball.
Yes.
So,
The reason
so
I'm
I
bringing it up is it's
already said-
exploding, yeah.
right, so
Pickleball's
we
just
already spent the money on the resurfacing the tennis courts. We didn't think at that time, but it's something that we have on our minds and for the following projects, yeah.
Thank you.
So tennis court will be put on the list, capital projects, we just need to get funding and see. So.
Okay. I'll ask this one last time. Is there any more questions for athletics?
Yeah, of course. I don't know if I should. I know we spoke in our email, and I kind of have something exciting to bring to
Yes,
the
yeah.
community. Shoot, I mean, I've been in Tukwila my whole life, and athletics at Showalter, has been great and amazing. We actually brought the unified program down to the elementary schools. Shoot, it's been 4 years since we've had athletics for our 4th and 5th graders, which has been amazing. And then our elementary kids got up to middle school and had to take a break for a year in 6th grade, and then they'd be able to play sports in 7th and 8th grade. So After talking with Dr. Pedrosa, we will be moving forward with offering sixth grade sports to all of our schools. So hopefully those participation numbers keep growing and, it pays off in the long run for our scholars.
And I just want to just add one thing, and when we brought in Special Olympics, so Special Olympics brings in Unified, which is where our kids with disabilities and their peers get to play together. And I just felt like that was just super critical as we were struggling with losing funding for athletic programming, but to bring it back specifically around our values. And Gabe has just been a trooper, like every step of the way. Like even when they needed a coach, he steps in. Like I'm just saying, when you say he's amazing, he's amazing. And then you see all the great programming and then just the success our athletic programs have as well. And so that to me is an amazing leader, an amazing dedicated staff member. And again, being innovative, we talked about bringing sixth grade sports in. So just making sure that all of our kids get every opportunity they can get. We're just showing everybody that we got it here. We got it here. So thank you so much.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you very much.
Good job, Jake. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
Hey, I have a couple of questions I will take offline, so I'll get you.
Okay. Department update, maintenance, operations, and capital projects. Feel free to stay right there.
Thanks.
Yeah, you all, you can come.
Come up if you want to. If you want. Or do you
No,
want to sit?
you're good right where you're at, unless you want the table. Thank you, Aaron.
Okay, is there any questions, comments, concerns, clarification for the maintenance, operations, and capital projects?
I have a clarification question. I asked about the cost of heating the buildings in relation to all the construction activities going on. The reason why I was asking that is that if any of this is covered by insurance, some of this mold and damages and things like that, there is the possibility that we can identify those costs of extra heat to heat the building because now it's going out the window because, they have no windows in, that we can recover some of that. So that's what was driving me to ask that question. And it was answered, but it was answered in a way that the building's in constant use. But I was interested in, what other losses have we had, be it cooling or heating or, anything about that construction activity. Sometimes that's recoverable.
Viviana Cardenas, Director of Maintenance and Operations. The majority of when we had a problem with the mold and what's identified, that usually happened during the summer time in July and August of 2025. So the majority of the work was, and when we had the exterior of the building demolished was done during that time. So it was actually summertime, beginning of September and October. By November, by middle of October, then our exterior envelope was already completed. We did not, we replaced the same windows at that moment, but that was when the walls were also integrated into that. So for loss of energy, it actually, we didn't have that much. We didn't provide, the building was empty at the time of discovery. And so we didn't have that much of a loss at that moment. When the staff members came back, it was September, probably partial of October. So by October, we start turning on our heating systems. So I don't consider too much of a loss of energy at that time. That we did have a lot of costs related. We did contacted the insurance company. And we actually sent an email requesting an update of our claims, and they're still revising. I have not had any new update from them.
And then I want to follow up question on the stadium fence replacement. There was a question asked about, why are we replacing that? And I think the answer just in short was, we don't want people jumping over and damaging the carpet. But over at Showalter, of course, we have a turf field for the baseball stadium and has no fence around it.
Mhm.
So why is it that we're concerned about damaging, or has damage occurred to the football stadium turf, even though it has a fence around it, yet there's no damage to the turf or the baseball stadium? There's no fence around it.
We did have some during the years, we had some damages to the baseball field. People had come and set on fire,
Yeah.
some of the baseball field. I would love to put more safety, but, I would like to put a fence in there. I would like to put, a fence actually at the beginning here at Showalter, or a gate. So I don't have people going into the baseball fields. There is a loss of revenue, because we don't have a way to stop people from jumping.
Mhm.
So we had situations where complete teams come jump the fence and then use our fields without going to the proper channels. We have vandalism and such. I would love to get the funds to do a complete fencing around the fields. It's just that at this moment, we don't have the revenue. I mean, it is on our to-do list, but as you know, first is safety, and other things that happen, and then projects keep dropping out of our list.
Yeah, and I think it would cut down on the amount of garbage, because as I mentioned in my report, that I think, people come from off-site and wonder if it's going
Yes.
to dump garbage.
Yeah, especially, I would say July is our worst time
Yeah.
for garbage. We do put signs all around the district because they come and they do fireworks, they display fireworks in our facility, so we do keep a lot. We actually make sure that the Tukwila Police Department it's going rounds, it's doing the rounds in our schools during the days too as well. So we do have a lot of problem with that. So yes, the stadium is very close to the road too as well. So we would like to deter, a lot of that is deter. Mhm.
So another kind of follow-up question of the insurance. So the insurance on the work at Foster is in process, is what you're saying?
Yes, they do
So
have,
we do anticipate we'll probably get something.
I'm assuming, yes. We do expect that, but I don't have a final decision yet from them. We provided all the information, all the studies that we did. Actually, also the 2011 issue that the school had. So they have all that information. So we're just waiting for them, for the decision to.
Is this the risk pool?
There's a risk pool, yeah, they brought in, engineers,
Yeah, sure.
from other people from other companies to do an assessment.
Okay, so I look forward to hearing, hopefully we'll get some money back from that to replenish the capital project.
Yeah.
The other question I had was, so the work on the indoor, air, so it appears to have not included the fine particle, work, which was actually recommended by the professor from the University of Washington. I wondered why. I mean, fine particle measures are important because, number one, we're probably going to have more smoke days at some point or other, given the way the world is working these days. And, we have a lot of students that have asthma. And so I'm just curious why that was left out of that whole indoor air project, because it seems to be a pretty critical part of it.
Okay, so the grant to that particular grant was to look into our equipment and making sure that our equipment was working properly. The equipment was calibrated and was balanced. All the schools, we went to every HVAC system and did assessment of all our equipment. That was what the grant writer did. And then that's what we applied the funds for. Now, you are referring about the University of Washington study that we're having, that actually we had completed conversations. So we do have a plan right now at the moment, and which I need to present it to Dr. Pedrosa, and I need to present it to Amy for review. But they have to make the decisions, and the University of Washington needs to send us a proposal because it's gonna be a little bit costly, which we are going to work with them, with the Department of Health, and we are the Puget Sound Energy as well. So the University of Washington, Department of Health, and the Puget Sound Energy to work on that pilot program. As soon as it's finalized and Dr. Pedrosa approves, and Amy, of course, approves, because we will need budget for that, we will share that information with the board.
Yeah, because that's a one when I was talking with some people from, the pilot a while ago. I mean, first of all, you have to measure what the, so we know whether we have an issue or not.
Correct.
So that's step one.
Mhm.
And then, there were grants, of course, available through the state to put in, for example, classroom-based air purifiers. So there's things that Highline has done that you can do that are in the area. So I just would encourage people to work on that fairly seriously.
Yeah.
The last one I had was, so the security fence around the stadium, are you talking about, I mean, we have a security fence around the stadium. People are jumping it. I mean, I walk by there a lot, and I've never seen, I mean, the vandalism you're talking about, fires probably goes on at night, obviously. And so whenever I've seen walking by there, I just see people doing what they should be doing on an athletic field. And I'm wondering, are you talking about building a higher fence? Are you talking about putting razor wire on the top of the fence?
Well, of course, I cannot put a razor wire on the fence, but we are.
Let me ask, so you can answer the question.
Yeah.
Because also in your presentation was the caveat of going through proper protocol to get to the field.
Mhm.
And I'm not necessarily sure the community knows what that is, because I don't. So
Oh.
fence,
Mhm.
access, security, and what actually is the protocol?
Well, fences has to be reserved. I'm sorry, the stadium has to be reserved. And the reservation are done through the athletics department. So, Gabe is in charge of reserving those facilities. Now, there are moments when the facilities are empty, and that's when we have people
Right.
taking advantage.
So if a neighbor wanted to jog, they would have to call Gabe to get a reservation to jog on the track?
No, we have to jog the track, we do have a period of time that is Monday to Friday. And we try to encourage people to jog before the students are present. So
Right.
so it will be in the morning, from 5 to 8 o'clock, and in the afternoon also as well. So while the fence, the gate is open, people can come in there. We're gonna have, if we go for a fence, a more sophisticated fence, that will be, we will have to think also about how we're gonna do entry, maybe a key card. We used to have a key card access in the past, but the key card was passed through people to people, and we had
Of course.
100 people in there. So we need to secure the facility. We need to secure also our investments too as well. We have had a lot of vandalism, and I try not to report vandalism to the board. But we do have we have vandalism often. The latest that I have is that somebody jumped and broke their leg. There was a student,
Yeah,
right?
recently we've had somebody.
Yeah.
Jumping the fence?
And
Yeah, but I get it.
So that's a risk to us too as well.
And then when it comes to, I'll add something to the vandalism part. The thing that we kind of struggle with a lot is when people hop the fence to go play soccer, for example. When they move around the goalpost on the turf, it rips it up, or also our track, which we've had a lot of repairs to our turf and our track. Which The track, we just got redone 2 years ago, had to have somebody help on it. Because people don't know how to move the equipment.
The goalpost or the goalie.
Yeah, the poles and, you know, we've done things like tried to chain up the fences, or the poles to the fences and, you know, people cut the locks a lot of the time and it just kind of starts.
Yeah, I just wonder if we can, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. Is there a way, that we can do this in a way, because there's a lot of need, I think, in the community with the young folks about, you know, someplace to go, let their energy out and play and see. And the question is, if you build a tire fence, I mean, you know, no great, somebody will figure out a way to jump however high a fence you make. And so, and we've talked about potentially working with the parks, you know, Parks and Recreation, something to figure out, as opposed to just shut off these spaces, which, you know, low-income community, we need spaces for students to let out their energy. So I don't know what the answer is, and I, you know, recognize the issue, and then just hopefully we can maybe work at that a little bit.
And the community feedback I've been getting is that they don't necessarily know how to access it. And I'm not necessarily talking about students, because the students probably know better than me. But the general Tukwila population, case in point, if you say before students arrive and maybe after, but what about the weekend? That's when the working people want to go jog. I've been here 15 years and don't know the program. I mean, I know you guys, I know what call Gabe, but I'm just saying, people ask me all the time. I don't know. I told them to call you or Penny or whatever to get the gym. So I get it, dude. But I think we have to secure the perimeter, but I think how do we make it where the community is aware of whatever the access protocol is? What does that look like? Common sense says not during the school time, but what does that look like on the weekend? Like, what does that look like? Or are we saying that this is just for Foster High School and not the community? I just don't think that is articulated. I don't think that's common knowledge as much. And, you know, vandalism, yeah, that's part for the course, but I think some of that is folk don't know. Like if there's a soccer league that needs to go through Parks Department or your department, I don't even know if they know that.
The only thing to consider when I've done this before,
Yes.
because we have shared use agreements when I worked in previous district with athletics and the parks. So there has to be a plan for maintenance and operations, right? Because as Director Sherlock mentioned, you know, not only is there maintenance of turf and equipment that is always a risk, but there's also cleanup. And then that's a burden on labor, right? So maintenance and operation is gonna cost Tukwila School District money if we allow, right? If we have turf issues with people jumping the fence and then we have an open access, then we're gonna have turf issues that we have to pay for. Cleanup, labor, custodial labor, we have to pay for that as well. So those are all costs that we have to factor. So I think when we talk about, if we talk about doing that, then what is it that we are willing to do in a city of Tukwila, who also has their own budget issues, right? But if city of Tukwila is willing to help with some of that maintenance operation costs on the weekend, if they want to do that, we have to work in negotiation with that. But whatever we do, it is going to be a cost to the district in either in labor or in maintenance fees or maintenance or all of it. And then also I'm going to add one more, risk and management and risk, because if you have kids breaking their leg while they're using our equipment and we're not there to supervise it, we're liable.
Why is that?
Because, well, we could be liable, we could get sued. I mean, and
My
then,
understanding is if there's an entity, so that there opens their property for recreation, they're not liable unless there's some, you know, clear negligence.
and then true, and people still will sue and grieve it. So that they'll still cost us money for lawyers, for defense, all of those things, even though we could be finding that we're clear, but there could be substantial legal costs. I'm just saying that we have to have that conversation because there's legal risk management implications, there's maintenance operations, and then there's also our labor union members as well. So extra time on that. I'm just saying we have to consider all of that. I'm not saying I have all the numbers, I don't, I'm saying those are all things you have to factor in.
I'm not sure that, building a bigger fence, is that really gonna solve
I don't know.
the problem?
I would like to remind the board that this is a questions-only presentation. We should refrain from open discussion. And if there are no further questions, we should move on to the next presentation. Is there any other questions of substance? Seeing none, I'm going to move on to the department update for technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Liliana.
Mr. Dragunov? Oh, I don't know your name, but I'm so happy you're here and thank you. Is there any questions for the department update for technology?
Introduce yourself.
Yep,
Please.
hi, Lanny Wood, Director of Technology.
Seeing no
I
questions.
just had a comment, I appreciate this project that we have going on with the city of Tukwila, that they're interested in, what I'm interested in is what are the student outcomes, so it sounds like that project's in the works. It'll be interesting to see, do we have the data about who's using that, and can we correlate that to student outcomes, and kind of questionable.
They're still gathering data. When was the last update they provided to me now?
That would be really, that's what I've been looking for a long time, so I'll be looking forward to that coming soon.
Trying to get you that information.
Yeah.
I had a quick question.
Okay.
In comparison to other school districts of similar size in Western Washington, how do you feel our technology status for the students is? I mean, do you think we're about average? Do you think we're below average? Do you think we're above average?
I think overall, from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing out there, we're above average.
Above average?
Yes, I think so. We have, a lot of our equipment is newer. We have great wireless connectivity throughout the whole district. A lot better than what I'm seeing at other schools or what I hear about. I believe our infrastructure is nothing's really outdated. We stay right on top of our maintenance windows. So I think we've been pretty consistent on keeping our equipment and our infrastructure updated.
And
I've heard of other school districts that, they just have a lot older equipment just because it's so expensive.
right.
But we have great maintenance windows.
Is there a lot of grants out there for maintaining the systems as they are, or upgrading them, or is the competition fierce for that, or?
Well, we use a lot of our E-rate, so government funding funds a lot of our infrastructure needs,
Okay.
both internally inside the school and outside of the school as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we're funded pretty well.
Okay.
And I have to give the previous director and the IT department a lot of credit. E-rate program is not an easy program to manage. It's very finicky, and it took us a number of years to figure it out, but, it's a previous person, and now I think, farm it out a little bit, so the credit goes to the IT for keeping it. That's a critical part of keeping our infrastructure up to date, and
I'm trying to carry on that momentum.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And that, along with our tech levy, is why we're in the position we're in.
Exactly. So, yeah, we're doing great.
Good, thank you for the answers.
Are there any other questions? 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, it's hard to come here for so long and then, have such a small little section of the meeting, especially when these meetings run this long. And you're at the very end.
But we did receive the report.
That's good.
Saw it.
Yeah. And now we will move on to the action items. Action item A, approval of the human resources staffing report. Does the chair have a motion to approve the human resources staffing report?
So, second,
Discussion?
yes,
Yeah.
I do want to note the leaving of the band director, which makes me concerned. We heard from our students that, the band program at Foxborough has been kind of decimated by the scheduling issue of band being kind of pushed off the schedule. And I'm wondering if this band director has only been here for what, 2 years now? And if this is a kind of part of a basically dismantling of our band program.
Karen DeGrana of HR, Labor Relations, Technology Services. No, not at all. There is a plan to replace that position. We aren't sure on the total FTE for the position, whether it will be 1.0 FTE, possibly 0.8, split between the two locations. And the two principals are also looking at possibility of merging some of the classes and creating some space in their schedules. But there's no plan to do that, to dismantle instrumental music.
Okay, yeah, I look forward to hearing, because it's concerning to me that it's kind of on the downhill.
Yeah. Is there any other discussion before I say anything? I have some things I'd like to talk about. Well, yeah, I can't speak for everyone on this list. God knows I wish I could, but I am concerned with one in particular that I'll just use as my one talking thing so I can keep this moving is Mr. Hill, Andrew Hill, who is a CTE Family Health and Consumer Sciences teacher at Foster High School, the only health teacher at Foster High School. Just to inform the board of some of his accomplishments is he's a health teacher. Have you ever heard of a student saying that health is their favorite class? Because I haven't until this year, where I'd say probably about a quarter to a third of freshmen I talk to, and it's weird. It's hard to be a favorite teacher, especially with a weird subject like health. People usually hate their health teachers. I'd say about a third to a quarter of the freshman class say that he's their favorite teacher. I would also say that recently the leadership class held a award night for teachers where students voted on superlatives for teachers, and all teachers received one that were created by a leadership class, but he was voted the most interesting educator award from the majority of the student body at Foster High School. There are only a handful of those awards, and he got one, which says quite a lot about his character as an educator. And for him to be the only health teacher in this district or in this school, he is going to have to be rehired. Am I, right? If he's going to be rehired, and I know the FTE may change, or perhaps the science department might take up some of the slack like it used to be, but he is one of the best educators I have ever met. He has the energy like no one else. He came in last year, he substituted for Foster High School. He decided to stop substituting for every other school that he was substituting for. He was there nearly every single day last year, every single day subbing. And he got to he built himself into the building as a substitute. And then he got a position here as a health teacher, and he has entrenched himself in the building like I have only ever seen probably 3 other times with a teacher. And it doesn't happen often when a spark like that comes into the building and builds a community that quick. It just doesn't. It happened with Miss Hernandez, and she's gone. It's happening, I'm pretty sure, with Mr. Hill. And if he's going to be gone, I don't get it. And I would highly urge this board to wonder about why his name is on this list, because I can't see a reason for it. I can't see in any future, any reality why his name is on this list. And I would urge the board to think about that. And think about what this board is doing by approving this list. When I can vouch for one of these people just because I know them, I don't know about all the other names on this list. I don't know Dalen, I don't know Emily, I don't know Wilbert. I don't know, Rebecca. These people are teachers. And it's like I said in the last meeting, I don't want Tukwila School District to be a place where new teachers go to die. I really want to hear from Arlen, since you are a sophomore. You know, you see freshmen a lot more than I do. Maybe you can say a few words.
Yeah, with Mr. Hill, one of my best friends had him for health. She hated health class because it's kind of boring, but she loves Mr. Hill. She still talks to him in the hallway. She still says hi to him. She still misses having him as a teacher because he's a great teacher. And she would always tell me stories about what he's doing in class, like singing songs or playing videos. And I had him as a sub multiple times last year, and he was one of the subs that would remember all the students' names, which honestly means a lot to students because it's just one little thing, but there's so many students, and when they remember you, it means something. And to hear that he might not work here next year is really sad to hear.
That's all I really have to.
If we could, there's a motion on the floor, been open for discussion. I appreciate your passion. You have to lower your tone, you don't get to just yell at us now. But in response to what his inquiry, this report was presented, and he said he didn't understand why. So maybe you can speak to how some of these names are on this list to add some clarity.
I can. So I'll remind the board that the district's obligated to, let me back up. One of the strategies that the district has for balancing the budget with some unknown terms is non-renewals of provisional staff. We've got 63 staff members on a provisional contract, which means that they're in their first 3 years of teaching in Tukwila School District. And what is happening is that the district had to make decisions we had to make decisions by May 15th. And so we have names that we're presenting. We've gone through the first couple steps by meeting with the educators and explaining that this is part of the process, and all of their names are ending up on what we call a recall list. So should things change after May 15th, as we learn more about our financial outlook, it is possible, it's not a guarantee, but it is possible that staff members on that list can be recalled to their position. And this really is a financial decision that the district is making.
So it speaks to the commentary that none of this is a reflection to these educators' skill set, ability. It boils a lot of times, and this is the hard part of these decisions. It boils down to fiscal, seniority, etc. So I just wanted not to curb your enthusiasm being upset. We still have to put it in the context, because in order to do the other stuff that Amy was talking about, these are decisions that have to be made to balance the other part. And this is why leadership is difficult. This is why this is not for everyone. This is why people aren't cut to sit at these tables and make these difficult decisions. It isn't pretty, it isn't comfortable, and it has a ripple effect. And those things are not likely, they're not done in closets and back rooms and quiet. This is how this works.
And the other part of the context is the fact that when there is a reduction in force, the district is bound by a contract, the collective bargaining agreement, to RIF the teachers that are the least senior teachers. And so that's something that has been negotiated with the union over the years, and that's the way it is.
Prior to this list.
That's a legal obligation of the district, so.
Which was the first presentation of, no, that was the closed session. So that whole thing is open up again. So this is the flip side of that coin, man. This is how that works. And it's not friendly, but it's necessary.
My job is to say what the students are feeling and what the students think. My job is not to be nice to this board. My job is to say how things are and how I view them. And I appreciate you telling me to moderate my time, since I do believe I was getting a little bit louder. But if you want students to be honest here, if you want students to come here and you want students to be honest here, you have to take them as they come. Because if you're never going to get a student that is going to tell you like it is and be happy about it.
I never asked you that. I'm saying we all have to be respectful.
I am being
Hold on,
respectful
hold
to
on,
this
hold on.
board by telling you how I feel and
Hold on.
doing my duty to this.
Hold on, young brother. That also becomes part of the lesson you learned in this experience. We get to have these debates, but we debate respectfully.
I am giving you all due respect, and I'm telling you that what students feel, and you telling me to lower my tone is, I have taken that into consideration. I am talking to you respectfully now, and I just would like to remind the board that it is my job to tell you these things. I would not be saying these things if I did not believe them, and I would not be saying these things out of, spite or malice against the board, since these decisions do not directly come from me. But you are the buck stops here. And I am doing my duty with no ill regard to this board or any people that have came up with these decisions, although I disagree with them firmly. And I understand that it is the duty of this board to do some very messy work. But I would appreciate if students' voices are able to come here as they are.
And while I do appreciate that, as a chair, we want to make sure that we are moving.
Yeah.
Did you have something that you wanted to add, Director Schiller?
Yeah, if there are any further discussion here. Oh, yeah, pardon.
Just looking at the list and looking at the positions that aren't being renewed, I see 3 from special education. Is there a reason why those are being cut more than others?
Yeah, so we are looking at enrollment this month and into June at the 3 elementary schools. And we have staff that are on provisional contracts, and so we are taking action before May 15th. And it's possible that we will replace some, possibly all of those positions, not necessarily with those individuals, because the agreement is that, or the arrangement is that while staff are placed on a recall list, it's possible that they will be recalled, but not a guarantee.
Seeing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Now on to action item number B, approval of Catapult Learning Contract Summer School. Does the chair have a motion to approve Catapult Learning Contract for summer school?
So moved.
Second.
Now on to the discussion.
So I guess this, I think, seems to be a different way of doing summer school than we've done it before. If I'm reading this properly, it's being farmed out to this Catapult company. And I guess my concern is if they're going to bring in a bunch of staff to do summer school that don't know any of our students, I'm concerned about whether this is the best way to do summer school, as opposed to we've done it in the past where we've kind of managed it in-house and used a lot of in-house staff people. And last year I thought there's a lot of good things. We had the UW group coming down, and it sounds like we're just kind of taking that off the table and farming it out to this company. I don't know anything about them. So that's my concern.
Great, thank you for the question. Scott Wakebank, Chief of Schools and Academics. It is different than previous years, and the driver of the change is that we were notified we were recipients of a grant for up to $840,000.
And we were going to have a very small summer school because we didn't have the funding for it. So, but part of the grant says you need to have a full day program. So it's not replacing the morning academic program, it's adding. So the morning program, and Assistant Principal Perez is one of our administrators overseeing the development of the program. And we have Gail Weaver, a director of Catapult, who's here, and Teresa Gregory is another director of Catapult who's online. So we have the staffing in district for the academic program in the morning. Afternoon is enrichment, which is required by the grant. So that's where we contract, put our request, like it shows in the memo, to request proposals for organizations to be able to provide the afternoon enrichment. And that's in Catapult based on, the details in the report I submitted is Catapult was selected. So yes, I can see if that was uncertain here, I can imagine the public might have the same uncertainty. So it's not a replacement, it's not replacing district staff, it's they're still covering all the academic programs in the morning, and then afternoon, that's an addition to what we've ever had.
Okay, yeah, I didn't pick that up at all. I thought this was replacing. That's a whole different discussion. Yeah, we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Joan.
Cindy Perez, assistant principal. So basically Catapult is replacing what in the past we used the Boys and Girls Club and then After School All Stars. And so it's actually taking place at the exact same time. I don't want to say some more program, I'm sure a better program. And again, it's that enrichment piece for our scholars because the morning is the academics and then in the afternoon, they're able to really have enrichment opportunities, STEM, outdoors.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I appreciate it because I was reading the way you read it. I was like, what? All right, I appreciate the clarity. I was lost in the sauce, clearly.
Did they come with a substantial resume and recommendations? And do we know, I mean, do you, in your professional career, do you know the other school districts that use this company and talk to them one-to-one?
Great question. Thank you for asking that. We first contracted with Catapult Learning for our private school outreach, which is the Title I directed funding. And we talked around, we found out that Seattle Schools uses the Catapult, they have, I think, 50 plus private schools who are entitled to equitable share of Title I. We have one. So, but still, we want to find a really good provider. And we were able to secure the work for Catapult, and it's been fantastic. Among the directors, there's experience as a classroom teacher and a principal. So they have real life experience in classrooms with kids. And their program in Seattle, like we talked to people I know really well from working in Seattle in the past, who are the directors of managing private school equitable share, and they just raved about them. And that's why we even found out about them in the first place. And I watched them work with them directly in our consultations and with the administrators of the private school, and they're, in my opinion, they're exemplary.
That's fantastic. I just want to say quickly that I think the best year in my high school education is I took a summer course, and it actually made the summer a lot more fun. It really did. I would strongly recommend for students, if you can get into these summer courses, to do that. I think that the amount of loss by the time September, if you've gone through a summer course, is a lot less. I think studies show that or back that up.
I totally agree. I think, and we aren't able to show huge gains of summer. We can show a significant difference, like we did last year, of what was lost. Where did our teachers in the fall have to go back to kind of catch kids up in the summer loss versus the kids from the summer program? And there was some gain in minimal or no loss by the students who were in the summer program. And so compared to their peers, it was noticeably different, more positive result with kids who were participating. Mm-hmm. And now, and that's just, we had the academic program alone, but now we have the enrichment. So I think students are gonna accelerate, but the focus is on English language development, which so many of our students participating, that's the biggest need, but also just gonna have some fun, and parents are happy that kids are taken care of all day long in a safe environment. And we still do have the credit recovery for high schoolers who need that. So it's a pretty comprehensive program.
Professionally, I think run or work with enrichment academic summer programs that do both for the hour, 12, 15 years. And if you do it right, it really does work. And you know, so I'm glad you brought clarity, because so when I was reading the memo in the presentation, I still don't see that, but I thank you for adding it. Thank you.
Can I just add one more thing? So we're gonna continue also prioritizing our MLL learners. It's an
Yes.
all UDL, Universal Design Centered morning program. We're gonna bring in co-teachers, all the same. It's the
Yeah.
same level of programming like last year,
Yeah.
just
With the enrichment.
with the enrichment component to
Right.
it.
And that affects relational.
Yeah.
And I think even the numbers that we still have yet to see on how the emotional well-being post-COVID for some of these students, these all address that even before we get those numbers. By the time we get the numbers on the emotional impact of COVID, the students will be gone. But we shouldn't wait till then to begin to start bridging that gap academically and socially. So I think the enrichment program is effective if you do it well. Yes.
You can say last summer when I visited at Showalter, as opposed to last year, it was visiting a class that was doing a robotics activity as part of a STEAM focus. And I don't know if I've ever seen a summer group of teenagers, not one student was off topic. They were all very into talking a lot, and just into the project because it was fun. Plus, nobody minds learning if you're doing something fun at the same time. So I was just impressed by how into it the students were, didn't want to stop the activities.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Is there any more discussion on the approval of the Catapult Learning contract for summer school? Seeing no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Now it is time for public comment. If there's anyone in person that would like to sign up, I have the sheet right here. Yeah, here. If there's anyone online, please raise your hand. And then, Mitch was on there, so if you'd like to lead us off.
Mitch Gordon, District 1. I am speaking as a private citizen. The one thing that I wanted to come up today and kind of state was we have a majority white male board. We have a lot of opportunities to speak and to act appropriately. And as this opportunity to step down away from this chair role, I want to really address the fact of it does not just extend to any one culture, any one race, anyone, anything. We have amazing students here. We have amazing representation here, and we have not a whole lot of diversity on our board. So speaking on that, I do want to thank Director Sherlock for taking the time to finally apologize directly to one of our student representatives. And beyond that, I will keep the rest of that part of it towards our Saturday meeting. But I do want to make sure to congratulate Aiden for stepping up today and taking the opportunity to chair this meeting. And everything that you've done has taught me a lot, even from your age and from your perspective. That does not mean that you are any less than anything that any one of the members on this board. I know I didn't take the time to honor you earlier, but I would definitely want to just take the time to step away and tell you that I wish I got to know you a little bit more. I wish I would have been able to see your advocacy and the amount of things that you've done to grow in your role. Beyond that, thank you.
Thank you. I'll save my public comment for last. Was there anyone online that rose their hand?
Yeah.
No, okay. Then Brandon. That's how you say that?
Brandon.
That's Brandon, okay.
Hi, Brandon Eastman from parent Technical Elementary School students. A couple, I don't know when it was, but I went to a town hall meeting with State Senator Tina Orwell, where she was talking about air purifiers that she got for all of Highland. It sounds like Director Larson's been talking Highland, and I know you were at that town hall, whenever that was. And I've reached out to her a couple different times, and I've given those things out all over the place, which is awesome for people to have in their homes. I've tried to connect something, especially I worry about
Cascade View, especially being in the flight path and stuff like that. And all of the reasons that she gave for why Highline, which is a much larger district, all apply to all the schools here in Tukwila, and there's only 5 of us. So I think it would be great if somebody that hasn't happened yet, reach out to, and I know she's not our district, like maybe Hasagawa or whoever could. It seems like it's feasible that they could pull the strings enough to get those air purifiers in here, and if Highline needs them, I think Tukwila needs them too, so I just kind of wanted to ask if somebody could reach out and, because the problem I've had is they say, well, do you work there? No. Do you have kids there? Specifically Cascade View, and no, I don't, and then it kind of just is like, okay, you're just a weirdo who showed up at this event to try and get these things. So if somebody else can do it, I think it would be great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Could you repeat the name of the first person?
Tina Orwell.
Tina Orwell. Thank you.
Next up is Aiden Hallett for public comment. Thank you, Chair Aiden Hallett, for recognizing me. Man, I'm gonna miss making jokes on this board. It's been very fun. Been a fun, long 2-year stand-up comedy routine, very in-depth. I just want to share some of my learnings from being on this board. I'm really excited to see where Tukwila School District goes. You know, it's been a long 13 years here since kindergarten. And I've seen this school district develop in a lot of different ways. Some of them I like, some of them I don't like, and some of them I'm really proud of. And I'm really excited to see where all my future student, all my peers go, and how Arden takes it up from here, and whoever it will be the next sophomore rep. Hopefully someone will be found, so it isn't just a ghost sitting there. But some things I've learned while being on this board is nothing is black. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is as easy as it may seem. You know, you may look at something and think, well, obviously the correct answer is this way. And then it's not that simple. It really isn't that simple. And another thing I've learned is an important part of leadership is questioning. I think that's a very important part of leadership, is being able to question one yourself and why am I making the decisions I'm making? Why am I saying the things that I'm saying? And also questioning everyone around you that's also making decisions, you know, and being able to find what are the flaws in our thinking? What are the flaws in whatever we're coming up with? And being able to find the best way forward for everyone. And another thing I've learned is you grow weirdly attached to random people. You know, I've never really talked. I've never really ever talked to you as like person to person, but I'm really attached to you, Reverend. And although feels weird to be crying at a public comment. God,
Take your time.
And then Dave, you're always very blank. But I see that there's a sun underneath your very cold demeanor. And not gonna lie, you know, stepping into, you know, the first few meetings with you, you are a little intimidating because you're really tall. But you have been one of my, weird to say, but like my best friend on this board. That's a weird thing to say, but it's true because I really look up to you. I don't know why I'm going from here over to here because that's weird, but man, it's weird. Seniors, I think this is weird. This is bad. It's not weird. Take the time.
Ms. Court.
Everybody loves together.
Man. What to say, man? Well, you said, thank you. Oh, Gil. Who's got onions here, man? Thank you. Oh. I need to lock in. I really loved working with you, and I know last time my mom and my stepdad were here. I don't think my stepdad was here. You were like, I've known you for 2 years, Aiden. Why didn't you introduce me to your mother? So here's my mother. Chelsea.
Thank you for sharing it with us.
And there you go. I really loved working with all of you, but especially you, because I don't know, every time I've come in here before the meeting, setting up with you, all these talks, it's really made me feel, I mean, back when I was more like, when I was a junior, you know, was just starting out here, it made me feel more welcome, and I thank you for that. I thank you a lot. Arden, man, I'm so proud of you, and I really hope, I'll say more of this for graduation, because I'm not gonna stop seeing you, you know, but like, take this forward and make the role your own, and I believe in you. Greg. Man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we really got off on the wrong foot. But I'm really happy to have gotten to know you. And I still want you to think about a lot of things you've said. I'm waving my finger at you, but that isn't the time for any of this. Thank you for being a part of this board, and thank you for challenging my ability to grow leadership and, you know, work with people. Now, I might not agree with, you know, because that's a really important skill, and I might not agree with you on a lot of things, but you've taught me that. I thank you deeply for that.
This community is proud of you.
Thank you. Mitch. Yeah, I might not have, I don't know why my voice is like shaky like that. It sounds like I'm going through puberty.
You are.
Anyway, we should talk about this at a meeting. This is a weird public comment. Okay, Mitch, I'm really glad that I got to meet you. I've learned a lot from your leadership on this board, you know, as the president, and you know, it's been really interesting to talk to someone in, you know, in a position like president of the Tuckahoe School Board, you know, that's young like me and shares a lot of younger like me and, you know, thinks like me, and that's really empowering to see, you know, because I mean, when we look at our government nowadays, we see so many people that are so I'm not talking about this board. You all are so young, so young.
Too late, man.
But it's really empowering. I entirely believe in this board's ability to make Tuckahoe School District a better place. Dr. Jones.
You can make me cry.
Yeah. When I first met, I was so angry, not you, but at what you represented. And that's another thing I've learned is it's very easy to put someone, what you believe someone is in front of who they actually are. And I am so glad I got to know you and work with you and grow with you. And, you know, even though sorry, I can't even say things. Director Proctor said, you know, I can't stop yelling at this board. But I do it out of a place of love. And I really, really look up to your leadership skills.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'm gonna really miss you.
I'm gonna miss you too.
We had so many good conversations.
Yeah, we've talked so much and I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss that a lot. I'll say more in private to most of you. And I'd like to thank, my mom. I love you. And Brianna, even though she's not here, she's gone missing. But I'm really proud of her too. And I'm really excited to see how her senior year goes. And thank you for having me on this board.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I had my soapbox and I'm crying, and that is my public comment. Thank you, Aiden Howard, for your public comment. That was really moving.
Hey, you're not wicked in the laugh. Oh, it's not good.
Okay.
So he gave commentary.
Okay. Is there anyone online that would like to give any public comment? Okay. Seeing no more public comment. Order.
Sorry, you just let a cannon out. Oh my God.
Seeing no more public comment, does the chair have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Does the chair have a second? Any discussion on the adjournment of this meeting? Seeing no discussion, all in favor of adjourning this meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any more? Any names? Any abstentions?
Anybody?
The motion carries, and this meeting is adjourned at
8:47.
8:47. Thank you all. That's a wrap.